everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
Hello, fellow Fox fans. How are we all? Do we have a good weekend? Are we all rested and raring to go and diving into the new year? We're not, are we? We're all sat here in lockdown thinking, oh, God. But at least we've got live football. And at least you've got us.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Leicester Till I Die. Now available on Spotify.
It is, and it's Tuesday night. It's a new time, 7 o'clock. We're going to start our shows at 7 moving forward where we can. Obviously, the pre and post match won't be falling into that. But football is back, 3 o'clock on Saturday. Well, I never. Did you ever think you'd see a game again, 3 o'clock on Saturday in these times? It is. It's the FA Cup. It's Stoke City. How are we feeling about it? Well, we're going to have a chat in a second with my chat chum Craig, and we're going to look ahead to said FA Cup match. I want to know how you feel. How are you feeling about the FA Cup? Is it a distraction? Have we fallen into that bracket now? We've got the Europa League, we've got the Premier League. Are you looking forward to it? We've never won it. We've been in there a few times. We've been close a few times. We've been the bridesmaid more often than not. Never yet to be the bride. Let us know your feelings on it. Love it, or is it a distraction?
Oh, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. Follow all them social media platforms for the latest updates and news on Leicester.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Matt. You are watching Leicester Till I Die. And if you want to watch us live, we're on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. We're on Periscope and Twitter at Leicester TID, and obviously Facebook on the Leicester Till I Die group. If you're on Facebook, please give that subscribe button a little click, and then we can see who we're talking to, which is always so much nicer. And if you want to watch us on catch up because you're still having your dinner, then obviously you can watch us on Leicester Till I Die TV, like I say, on YouTube, or catch us on any of the on your favourite podcasts. The main ones, obviously, Google, Apple iTunes, Spotify and Anchor. But we are on all the main podcasts as Leicester Till I Die. I'm going to say good evening to Matthew. How the devil are you, sir? Whereabouts are you, Matthew, today? Are you still back home, or are you travelling around the world still? Let us know. Let us know where you are. And we're also going to say good evening. Again, I don't know who I'm saying good evening to, but I'm going to say good evening to Facebook user. Mate, just give a click. There's nothing to pay. There's nothing to download. Just click it. Let's just see, like you saw Matthew then, see who we are. Somebody I do know, and I'm going to bring him in now, and he'll probably not admit to knowing me, but I know him. It's my chat chum Craig for the preview show. Good evening, Craig. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year. Who are you again?
No, you know what? I wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and ask myself exactly that same question. Who are you?
Well, it's a new year. It's a new Chris. Well, maybe not. It's a new time, that's for sure. So you know, we'll be wrapped up in time to watch a bit of Carabao Cup action. I've got a nice cottage pie slowly baking away in the oven. We'll all be done and dusted until we start waffling on.
I would say I'm on my way around to have some, but of course I'm not allowed to be, am I?
Sorry, mate.
We're going to say good evening there to Rob. How you doing, Rob? Nice to have you along. So I don't know about a new Chris. I'm certainly a fatter Chris. I've put on so much weight since we've been started this lockdown nonsense. If anybody's lost 2 stone, come and get it off me, because I've got it here right waiting for you. FA Cup this weekend, young Craig. I asked the question at the start, and I want to say, if you're watching, let us know what your thoughts are on it. But we've got a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. It's coming from Stoke, the Bet365 Stadium, 3rd round, and it's live on the BBC digital platform. To you and me, the red button. FA Cup, distraction or something to look forward to?
It's always something to look forward to for me. You know, I think anybody who says it's a distraction will probably change their mind as soon as we're in a semi-final. So I don't believe it, to be honest. You know, for me, it's a prestigious cup competition that we've never won. We've been close, but never. I mean, the only time I've been close in my lifetime was the semi-final where Spurs did us, to be honest. I was alive when we lost to Man City, but I was only a very, very young boy then, obviously. But yeah, I still remember the semi-final at Villa Park against Spurs, and it still hurts. Hurts as much as Tommy Williams' leg.
Yeah, oh yes, I remember that. I remember going to that because I was working with somebody who was also a Leicester City fan, and we had to have alternate game. You know, we had to go alternate weeks to see the football because in those days it was mainly Saturdays, and we couldn't both have the same day off. And he got the it was Shrewsbury, if you remember, in the quarter, the famous 3-goalie game. And he got that. And I remember I was working in the town centre, and I'll swear to this day I heard the cheer when the 5th goal went in. I was leaving work. I got the FA Cup game semi-final, thinking like, yes, I've got the semi-final. It was like you say, but I remember, and it'd only be the Sun on the day that we played in that semi-final. The big front page was just 2 words: "It's war," because it was the Falklands at the same time.
Yeah, it was. Of course, they had Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa playing for them, and
yes,
I remember the game pretty vividly. To be honest, I remember Ardiles chipping the ball in for Garth Crooks to volley it, and I can still see that whole side of Spurs fans jumping up into the air. Then obviously there was the second goal, one of the best own goals you'll ever see from Ian Wilson, managing to chip his own keeper on the edge of the 18-yard box. But and I would say one of the best performances I've ever seen by a player was Glenn Hoddle on that day. We couldn't get near him. He was fantastic. But yeah,
I think they went on to win it, didn't they?
Yeah. It was the last couple of times we've been in the semi-finals.
We'll never know, because it looks like Craig has frozen there. Either that or he's posing very nicely for a passport photograph. We'll carry on, Craig. I don't know if you can still hear us or not, but you've frozen. We can let it go. No, I won't sing that to you, honestly. Let's just see if Craig is going to come back to us. I can see him in the studio, see if he moves again. But at the moment he has frozen. But yes, we've always, like I say, been the bridesmaid. I'm just looking for some information here. With the most final appearances, and this is something obviously as Leicester City fans we're probably not overly proud of, but we've got the most final appearances without ever winning, and that is 4. 1949, 1961, 1963 and 1969. And he's actually left. He's obviously reloading, Craig, and I can tell you now, he was probably at that 1949 one, if truth be known. Maybe, whatever you do, guys, don't tell him I said that. I only said that because he's not here. But yeah, we've been there 4 times. I love the FA Cup, and I love the fact that we sometimes have good runs, and I suppose because Leicester, to me, for so many years, Leicester have been an underdog team. I do see the FA Cup as being a chance for underdog teams to come through, have their moments, quite often it's against us, unfortunately. But moving forward, and I did say when I said distraction, do you count the Europa League as more important than the FA Cup? What would you sooner see us win? I wasn't sorry, I don't know about you guys, I wasn't sorry to see us go out of the Carabao Cup. We got Arsenal, we got them in the first round, or whatever round it was that we came in at. And I'm going to be honest with you, yeah, we lost it. Wasn't sorry, because I knew we'd got Europa League coming up, we'd got all these games. I think we've got to lose. For my mind, we've got to lose something, because we know, when we say this all the time, we're playing too many games, and I know they've got rid of replays, etc., etc. Maybe they should get rid of the Carabao Cup. Is that a waste of time now? FA Cup, I would like to see us win it in my lifetime. I'm not going to lie to you. And in recent seasons, let's have a look how we've done. In recent seasons, well, of course, last season we got through to the quarterfinals, where we lost to Chelsea. I wonder how that went for them. And of course, the year before, we lost to Newport County. What was I just saying about chance for small clubs to do well? They seem to do it against us. Chelsea in the 6th round in the 17-18 season. The 5th round to Millwall. Do we all remember that? That was a game and a half, wasn't it? Was it? I'm trying to think which player. One of our players was actually too scared to go and take throw-ins. Somebody will remind me who that was. And then in the 15-16 season, something happened well in that season, I seem to remember. It was the 3rd round. We lost to Spurs on the replay. I remember being with a Spurs fan when that happened, so I wasn't happy. Anyway, I think we've got Craig back. I think he was reminiscing about the 1949 Cup final he was at. I think probably brought too many tears to his eyes. Remember, don't tell him I said that. Let's bring him back in.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
Welcome back, Craig.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was internet connection, as always. Don't believe anyone who said it was me checking on my cottage pie. It was not true.
It better be good, mate. It better be good now you've done that. Put another mouse on that wheel, mate. Get it running quicker for the internet. I was just saying, you've not really missed a lot. Just me gabbing on, basically. But obviously, you've got the 4 bridesmaid semi-finals we made there: 49, 61, 63, and 69. Sorry, the finals. When we lost, always the bridesmaid. I'm sure you remember most of those. But do you?
Thanks, Chris.
We're just looking at our recent history. Most recently, of course, Chelsea last year in the empty stadium.
Yeah, that's not a good set of results, is it? Really?
No.
We seem to struggle with. If there's a big team to be had, then we usually find it. But even so, I mean, that Newport one still rankles.
I'm going to say we don't do awfully lot better against the smaller teams. Wycombe Wanderers, there was I hoping for that was the FA Cup, wasn't it? Indeed,
it was.
And I was hoping
quarter final.
I mean, it was the dream tie. Wycombe Wanderers at home. We got Wycombe Wanderers at home.
Yeah.
In the past, though, Craig, and I always think, like I say, I want us to see us win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see us win the FA Cup more than the Europa League. Probably not, because we're always in the FA Cup, whatever happens, where you've obviously got to qualify for the Europa League. But we've always, where we've put second string teams out, we've always struggled against, even though the smaller teams. It's come back and bit us on the bum, Claude Puel was the my thought with that with the Newport. But our B team at the moment has proven itself to be really good.
Yes, not so good against Palace, although as we know, with that penalty, it could have been a different story, and we definitely played well enough in that first half. you know what? From my perspective, if you could guarantee that you were going to go deep into Europa League, then you'd say, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you can't. Football's. We all know how stupid football is. You know, we can say that, and we can get knocked out in the next round of the Europa League, and we'd be bemoaning the fact that we played a weakened team in the FA Cup and we should have gone for it. You know, that's the nature of football. It's the nature of football fans. For me, if you're in a competition, you're in it to win it, and I can understand up to a point the fact that, you know, we had an extra competition this year with European football, that there wasn't so much emphasis on the League Cup. Even that I wasn't overly happy about. But for me, at the end of it, there's a Wembley appearance and a cup to lift, and I'd much rather see a Leicester City player lifting that cup than any other player. So for me, you know, we go for it. I think we've got a good enough squad to make a few changes, but not wholesale. And I think it helps with the fact that we don't have a midweek game. So it's like a weekend league fixture, and then we've got a whole week to prepare for the next game. So I don't think there's any reason, unless people have got knocks and little niggles that they want to rest, I don't think there's a valid reason for making wholesale changes.
I'm lost without a Leicester City game during the week at the moment. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to rediscover Netflix. Stephen, thank you very much. I was talking while you're out about that Millwall game, which again bit us on the bum. And one of our players being scared to go and take throw-ins. It was, of course, Ben Chilwell. I couldn't remember who it was. Matthew,
I had the pleasure of being at that game.
Pleasure? Is that the right?
No, it's not. It was a ridiculous game. You know, we didn't play very well at all. We had, I think we had a centre half, didn't we, making his debut that we had on loan, who then got injured. Molly Wagyu, I think his name was, played at centre half. But yeah, Ben Chilwell, you know, yeah, by all accounts, he was too scared to take the throw-ins. But at the end of the game, they all came on the pitch. They were goading the Leicester City fans, and police seemed to do absolutely nothing other than just stand and watch. It's a frightening place to go, Millwall. And I've been to Millwall away. I've been to both dens. Seen us lost times in cup games, and both times after they've beaten us, they've still come on the pitch. Madness.
I seem to remember video of the Leicester City team bus getting pelted as it was it either arriving or I think it was leaving, I think. And again, the police weren't doing an awful lot there, but that's another topic for another time. Just going to bring up here. Oops, let me just bring this up. We've got Stoke, Championship side, possibly a banana skin, or do you think we'll have enough, Craig?
I think we should have enough, to be honest. I think it's Michael O'Neill, I think, is the manager, isn't it? The ex Irish manager. And I think he's got them pretty solid at the minute. They haven't got a lot of goals in them. So there's the famous last words. And I think at home, like a lot of teams, I think at home they're struggling a little bit more than they are away. But again, you know, it's not like the old Stoke team where you knew you were going to get clogged as well. I think he's tried to change a bit of football, the way they play a little bit more football. They've still got some old players. I think Joe Allen's still there, but we should have enough to get through this one.
Pretty even on the old history there. 101 games we've played, won and lost 33, drawn 35. You couldn't stick a feather between us, really, could you?
Right. No, I think we you know, up until recent years, we're sort of similar, weren't we? Both sort of yo-yo clubs, you know, happy to just stay in the league most seasons. But we know Stoke have had a pretty torrid reputation for a long time in terms of their football. It was always can you do it on a rainy Tuesday night in Stoke, wasn't it? But
yes, I don't think having Tony Pulis as the manager. Yeah, I don't think having Tony Pulis as the manager enhanced their reputation an awful lot, did he? You know.
No, not at all.
So In the FA Cup, we've played each other 10 times. We've won 2, drawn 4, of which we've lost 2 of the replays and lost 2. So again, you know, it literally is all to play for with them. And this was our last time we played there, Stoke, in the FA Cup, which was 2014. And it was Stoke 2, Leicester 1, Nugent with the 77th minute under Nigel Pearson. And I don't know if you can see that team there at all. Just to quickly run through it. Yeah, Schmeichel in goal. I wonder what's happened to him. Let me just take that banner off because we can't see who the bottom player is there. Oh, look, it's Jamie Vardy was up front, but Matty James, who's just going down the M69 now. Richard Lapp, Paul Konchesky, Ingarci, Miguel. Now there was I remember seeing him down in Bournemouth. Dean Hammond, Andy King, who's just joined our Belgian cousins.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, good on them.
Looking at that, it didn't look a bad team, did it? But you know, I think they went 2-0 up before.
No, not a bad team. I mean, I wonder, was that the year that they actually made the final? Because they made an FA Cup final, didn't they? But I got a feeling that they got I thought they did, but I could be wrong. Someone will tell us, no doubt. But I thought they got a good hiding.
Yeah.
But never a nice place to go, Stoke, to be honest.
No, it was a third round, and we were destined for better things that season, weren't we?
Yes, we were indeed. A great start of a great adventure that was.
Yeah. Somebody saying here, hopefully I won't get on the bus. I hope. Well, you'd explain that in more detail. Nacho to get the winner. I hope Nacho doesn't get anywhere near the pitch. Now that now he'll come on and get a hat trick, but you know my thoughts about him at the moment. And love.
I think the nation knows.
He's had his chance. Hopefully, he gets on the bus. First, he can go to Coventry. I'll tell you, Matthew. Love beating Stoke ever since they relegated us to Division 1. We mentioned that before, didn't we? You were there. Were you there then?
No, I wasn't there. I remember watching it, like most of us, just watching with disbelief. On I think it was a Sunday afternoon, last day of the season, and just almost resigned to the fact that we were going down. And every time you get relegated, it hurts, doesn't it? And you feel it's the end of the world. And then it doesn't seem to matter what division you're in. As soon as your team starts winning again, the world looks a little bit rosier. Even though we were down in League One, we were winning week in, week out, and bounced straight back. And we know how that passage of football seasons ended up. So we had to plumb the depth, and then we came back as champions in the end of it.
I remember not feeling, like I said this to you before we came live, I never just sat there, like you say, it was resigned, because I think we were almost for 3 or 4 seasons before that, and people sort of blame Ian Holloway, and to me, I can't, because he proved he was he was quite a decent manager by taking Blackpool up, and let's be honest with you, that's not a bad thing, to do if you can do that. We were in a malaise, weren't we? It was just a case of when rather than if, I think.
Yeah, I think we were going through some dodgy seasons. We had a few dodgy managers. Nobody was sticking around very long, to be honest. And then I think was it in the Mandarich years? I think.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it was, but yeah, it was just almost an unforgettable period of our football club. Even now, we struggle to remember it because we can't even remember who the managers were before and after. But
unfortunately, I can remember Craig Levine. Yeah, I can remember Craig Levine.
You do like mentioning Craig Levine, don't you? I mean, around that time, I remember we had Martin Allen for a while, didn't we?
We had Martin Allen. We had Rob Kelly was made up from coach not unlike Craig Shakespeare. But
Yes.
the funny thing was, with Craig, my two sons were both ball boys in the days when ball boys, match day mascots in the back in the day when you only had one per team, and we were, because I lived in Burnley, we played Burnley away, and they got to be the mascots. And Craig Levine was one manager, and Ian Holloway was the other. I'll tell you what, you've got to get off pitch. They're completely different. They literally are so nice, but you don't remember them for that. You remember the fact that they got us relegated. But
that's all you remember, unfortunately.
It is, and I guess it is still going to be like a little. It was a big thing for us, and yes, it was the start of great things to come. And sometimes, you have to take that one step back, don't you? And Nigel, who'd have thought Nigel Pearson, who'd only just kept Southampton up the season before at our expense, as it happened, would come in and do what he did.
Yeah, you can never tell. Some managers fit clubs, players fit clubs. It doesn't make them a bad manager if it doesn't work. It doesn't make you a bad player if it doesn't work for you at that club. Although I'm sure you'd say something different about Iheanacho. But sometimes everything blends together. You get the right manager with the right bunch of players, all those who have got something to prove. And I'm sure it hurt a lot of players, going down to League One and being part of that. But they all pulled themselves together and got us back at the first time. And
that was in its own way. When you looked at how Man City didn't do that, Leeds United took ages to come out. Yeah. We bounced straight back. And I always remember that we ended up that season when we were in League One, we had a lot of loan players, which was great because Pearson had obviously gone in with that decision that he wasn't going to sign players that he might not need if we actually get out of that division.
Yeah.
I think,
and I remember, I can remember. I think we got promoted again. Maybe my memory is playing tricks with me. I think we got promoted away at Bolton. I'm sure Knockout put one in the top corner. What he did, yeah.
I think we got promoted. I think the Bolton game was when we won the championship because Lloyd Dyer scored.
Was that the championship? Was it?
I think that was when we.
Yeah.
But I think we got promoted. Did Knockout get the goal? Was it Sheffield Wednesday? I think it was down the pub watching it. It was Sheffield Wednesday. It was a free kick Knockout took. That might, I don't know, or did we not play and Derby didn't win anyway? I don't know, but I remember the Bolton game.
Yeah,
we're getting too old, mate. We're getting too old.
Is that it? Yeah. No comment.
Our memories are going. I don't know. I mean, we're looking at Stoke at the moment. We're up there third. They're down there. That's not coming up very well again, but that's seventh Stoke are in the Championship. Do you think we're going to have too much for them?
I think so. Six. Yeah, I think they're consistently average. Is what I'd say at the minute about Stoke. As you can see that, there's a lot of draws there, one win and one defeat. As I say, I don't think so. Just trying to see that. So they've only scored 26 goals.
Yeah.
So that sort of backs up the fact that, but they haven't let loads in. So I think they're a pretty dour team at the minute. So it might be a bit of a boring watch, to be honest, if we have to break them down. But they'll see it as a free hit. Nobody's expecting them to really beat a team that's third in the Premier League. So, their players will be up for it. So I think in the first instance, we've got to win the battle to play our football. So that first 20 minutes is going to be quite interesting, and we need to sort of either start really fast or just deal with whatever they want to try and throw at us.
I said whilst you were off checking your cottage pie, I mentioned the fact that what I love about the FA Cup is the fact that it's the small teams get pitted against the big teams. It's even more so. I know it can happen at some point in the Caribou Cup, but the FA Cup, it is something it's about the little boys meeting the big boys. And for so long, let's be honest with you, we've been one of the little boys, haven't we?
We have, yeah. We'd come into it with an inferiority complex, and it was exciting. You'd be excited about who you got, because you were just excited. You wanted to draw one of the big boys because it was probably one of the few chances you get to see them, and it was exciting that one of them big clubs would be coming down, especially if you got them at home. Now you want to avoid them because you think you've got a chance of winning the competition. So. Yeah, times have changed very much so, and this isn't the easiest. It's not the easiest cup tie that we could have had, but it's definitely one that's well within our reach of beating Stoke.
And just to have a look here, this is who we've got: Tony Harrington, who I've never heard of, to be honest with you. But the big thing there, of course, we must remember is no VAR now. You could be, if we were playing at home, we would have VAR, but because we're playing away, we haven't got VAR. So it's not really a level playing field, is it?
No, it's not for me. It's either everybody has it or everybody doesn't in a competition. You can't, you can't just switch it. I assume that there's still replays in the third round.
I'm not. I haven't got that there. No, somebody might know, because obviously they've got rid of replays altogether in the Carabao. I would have thought that they got rid of it literally because of the fixture backlog. They might have got rid of replays. Somebody will let us know, I'm sure. But no, I just can't. If Man United get a penalty, I don't know if Man United are at home, but let's, for example, say Man United are at home. The chances are they'll get a VAR penalty. We claim for a penalty. It's not given. We lose. I just for me, I think it's very, very bad. Like you say, it should be all or nothing.
Yeah. I mean, its fundamentals should be that everybody's playing under the same set of rules. I mean, that's a fundamental of football. So I don't see how they can justify having no VAR at some grounds and having it at others.
Now that's interesting. No replays, so we could be having the excitement of a penalty shootout if it all goes well. I mean, I don't know. Have you had a chance to study Stoke? Is there anybody there that we should be worried about at all?
From the little I've seen of them, to be honest, I've not studied them in great depth, to be honest. But no, I don't think they've got anybody who's pushing up big numbers in terms of goals. As I say, I think Joe Allen's. I think they've still got a few of the old players who are still there, but there's nobody there. Let's just say that I don't think there's great transfer rumours about anybody pinching anyone from Stoke, and I think that says a lot.
Okay, it's that time when we ask you to put on Brendan's shoes. We'll go back to his shoes this week. I think that's the safest option. Yeah. Now then, this is where it's going to be very interesting to see. And again, that's just the graphic. Don't everybody thinking, is that the team we're putting out? As far as I can see, there's no fresh injury concerns for Brendan. There's nothing I've heard of as yet. What do? Do you go with the strong team, get a lead, then change, or do you go out with a second string team, hope we're hanging on, and then if we need to, bring the big boys on at the end? We haven't got a game either side of this, so we don't need to rest them.
No, we haven't. But I think it'll be a bit of a mix. I think he will give a couple of players an opportunity to either step up or have a rest. But I mean, looking at the team I've picked, there's probably 3 or 4. There's probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 changes there. But I think they're in areas that won't overly weaken us, shall we say. Players who we know can come in and do a job. And obviously, we can have a strong bench as well. But no, I think it'll be a bit of a few changes, but not the wholesale ones. I don't think you're going to see 8 or 9 changes like we did for the Palace game, for instance.
Well, we've been linked with a goalie this week, which I don't know why we're going to have a team of goalies soon, aren't we? Because Pokovic is supposed to be possibly re-signing. But have you gone for Ward or Schmeichel?
I think he'll play Ward, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think, you've got to keep. You never know when he is going to be needed. So I think it makes sense. He's not really let us down. I don't think he's ever had any howlers or whatever. So I think he'll be in for this game, to be honest.
And I think in the past he has liked Ward in the cup games, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And how many? What we're going for defence then?
So I think he's going to stick with a 4-1-4-1. For me, it seems to be the formation of choice at the minute. And as I say, I think I was only one out in my team selection for the last game against Newcastle, and I think he's getting close to a pretty settled side if everyone's fit, to be honest. But in the back, I think there'll be a couple of changes along the back. I think you'll see Evans, and I think you'll see Kaglar play alongside Evans. I think it's a good game for him to come back, to be honest. I think JJ will still play. I think the guy seems to have boundless energy, and Ricardo's still not fit. So I think JJ will hold down that right back spot. And I think Luke Thomas will come in on the left and give Castagna a bit of a breather. And Thomas did well against Palace, to be honest. I thought he played pretty well. He was one of the better players on that performance.
I think Luke Thomas, to be honest with you, he scored a goal in the Europa League, hasn't he? He's not let us down when we've needed him. And when you look at some of these players that Keysby Hall's doing well on his loan.
He is, yeah.
Afin Ko is, I don't know, I can't pronounce his name. He's just possibly going out on loan. So yeah, we've got the youngsters. Not a bad back for that. I can see where you're coming from with that. And then I'm guessing now then, Mendy or Ndidi, who are you going for?
You know what? This is the one where I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because I think you do want a strong player sitting in there. Mendy's never let us down. Ndidi for me is a far better player, but I think he'll go with Mendy, to be honest, in this one.
Yeah, I think when you look at these players, like you say, like you've left out there, Ndidi, Castagna, they're players that have recently been injured.
Yeah, and
having that extra time off isn't going to do them any harm at all. Let's be honest with you.
No.
Yeah.
So
right, we're getting into the midfield.
Yeah, so across the four, the two wide ones I think will be the same. I'm going to stick with Albrighton and Barnes. I think Barnes has done pretty well the last few games, to be honest. He looks to be more positive. I think I'm not sure Brendan was totally sure about him, but I think he's done enough over the last few weeks to show that he's got a bit more of a goal threat. I think he's already equalled his tally for last season already. So, and I think a player like that, someone who's going to take the game to a lower league opposition, I think is critical there. So I think Barnes and Albrighton does a great job.
And I think in that role, with Barnes as well, he's used to that league, isn't he? Because he was there a lot on loan.
Yeah, he is. He had a great time while he was at West Brom. So, so I think he's done enough to get a run. He's young enough. He's not had any injuries or knocks, so I don't think there's any reason to not play him. And I don't think we've naturally got another left-sided attacker who sort of fits it, unless he played under. But I know he tends to play off the right. So, so I'm going to stick with Barnes anyway. Yeah. So the two in the middle is where I'm going to change it, I think. So I'm going to put Pratt and Perez in there.
Wow. Okay. That is a big change.
Well, I think they're similar to the two that you drop out. So Maddison, Maddison we saw, he says he's okay, but he did look a little bit dodgy when he extended that leg and felt his knee the other night. he seems that he said he was okay, but I don't think it makes any sense to try and risk him in this game. And for me, he's been playing a little bit more further forward in and around Vardy. So for me, Perez is a perfect replacement for that. And Pratt is the busy player who can just sit in behind there. And I think, again, another player who's pretty solid for us and deserves a run out. So Albrighton, Barnes, Perez, and Pratt as the four there.
Right. Now I am now hovering over the remove you from the screen button, depending who you are going to pick. Because I have a feeling who Brendan might pick, but who are you going to pick?
Well, to be honest, I don't think you can look beyond Slimani for this for this game.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't argue.
You know what?
Compared to
I wouldn't mind either. I'd be quite happy to see him have a run out and see what he's got against a team like Stoke. But I have gone for Vardy.
Yeah. I think you're a fine man and a gentleman, sir.
I think Vardy's looking sharp. It's against lower league opposition. I don't think they'll come up against a Vardy week in, week out. And I think it's one of those situations because he has got a week to recover afterwards. If we can start the game strong and get a couple of goals up, then we can make the change. To be honest, I'm not sure. You're heaping a lot of pressure onto Iheanacho. I think Iheanacho would benefit coming on if we were ahead and there's less pressure on him. I think throwing him in again after last week when he missed the penalty against Palace, I'm not sure that's a great thing. So I would stick with Vardy for this one.
I mean, looking at that team, I agree with Vardy. I just have this fear that he will go with Iheanacho because he likes to go with Iheanacho in cup games. And of course, what he might be looking at that is, well, this is Stoke. Let's put Iheanacho on, let him get a couple and boost his confidence. But then I was saying that about Palace. I was saying, when we were playing Crystal Palace, this was the game when the pressure's off Iheanacho and he should come on and score a couple. But yes, I'd sooner, like you say, put Vardy on, let him have 60 minutes, hopefully maybe get one or two, and then maybe bring Iheanacho on just to see what we can do. No room for Iheanacho, somebody's put here. There is the changing room. Let's hope they lock the doors and don't let him out. I must admit, I like the look of that. I agree with you. I mean, Ward, I think is a nailed on. I think like Iheanacho, he does like to play Ward in the goalies for the cup games. So Soyuncu, I think it could be a good game for him to come back to, but also depending how physical it is, we don't want him to get another knock. But like you say, sooner him come back in with this one than maybe in a Premier League game when we're forced to make the change if he's injured. JJ is just going from strength to strength for me. Luke Thomas, like I say, hasn't let us down. Nor has Mendy. Mendy, for me, is almost been the find of the season. I would like to see Under get a start if he's fit and that niggle that he's had is okay. I would like to see him have a start and maybe give Albrighton a rest and maybe bring Albrighton on it if we need to. But my scare is I do honestly think that he's gonna play Iheanacho up front. But if that's the case, I'm going to start a campaign to have you as installed.
It wouldn't surprise me if he started Under. It also wouldn't surprise me if he started Gray, to be honest. I remember he started him, I think if I remember rightly, this time last year we had Brentford away and we won. I think there may have been 1-0 and I think it was an early goal.
It was 1-0. It wasn't a classic game. It was 1-0.
No, I think it was a great pass by Dennis Pratt out to Gray, who put it in, and Iheanacho scored, I think, if I remember rightly, quite early on in that game. But I don't know. You never know with Brendan, do you? He does like to spring something on us. But anyway, that's my team. I think that's a good enough team to win the tie.
Maybe give Gray some time, put him in the shop window. I don't know. Do you do that at the risk of the team? But we all know he can produce the odd bit of brilliance, but unfortunately it's only once or twice a season if we're lucky, you know. But no, I think the team. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, there's quite a few clubs interested in Gray, so I don't necessarily think it needs to be in the shop window anymore. If you believe what we're hearing, you know, a couple of teams abroad, and 2 or 3 over here. So, you know, he probably, if he thinks he's got some money, he could get some money for him. Then it makes sense to not risk him, to be honest.
The only problem is that I can't remember how much we bought him for. I have a feeling Brad Hicksy Hicks, who's very good. He's our little stat man, is Brad Hicksy Hicks, and he digs me out of the mess quite a few times. If you're still watching, Brad, how much did we pay Birmingham for Gray? Problem is, sorry, come the end of the season, he's out of contract. And he could go for nothing. And if he decides to sign for, is it Marseille? I think it was possibly one of the teams that was interested in him. And I can see he's the sort of player that might fancy himself abroad. You know, we could lose him for nothing.
Well, it's interesting because they have Tovin, who plays in the same position, who's also out of contract in the summer. Who is also been linked with us. I know he had a period at Newcastle, which didn't really work out for him, but he's been really strong for Marseille the last couple of seasons. So who knows? Maybe there's a quiet little swap on the cards in January.
3.75 million for Gray, apparently. Let's face it, we've lost more on other players, and we'll certainly be losing more than that on Slimani. Charlie, we play 3 o'clock on. I know, don't fall off your chair, but we play 3 o'clock on Saturday. It's on the BBC Red button. I have a feeling, is he not? Is Slimani in his last? Is his contract run out? We could lose him for nothing.
I think so. Yeah. There's not been a lot of talk about anybody coming in for him. No. But I don't think you need to put in a squad either. So I'm sure he's eligible to play in this game, or at least make the bench.
And I just think, you know, what other business other than football? If we lose Gray and Slimani, we're writing off there virtually £35 million. I mean, it's mad, I tell you. Everything's gone mad. It really has. But we're going to ask for people's score predictions. I'm going to come back to you for yours in a second, Craig. But first of all, before that, we're going to have a little, very, very little quick break, and then we're going to have a look at a classic game that you've got lined up for us.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chumps. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Now available on Spotify.
Indeed. So, every preview game, the oracle that is Craig takes us back in time and looked at a classic match. Wasn't the one I thought he was going to go for. Then the classic matches aren't always obviously 10-0 wins, 5-0 win, whatever. They're just matches that stay in the memory a long time. And this is one that stayed in Craig's. Whether it will stay in mine or not, he'll always have a question for me. I don't know, but let's go for it.
I've got 2 questions for you on this one, Chris. One's a little easier than the other. But
help me out here, guys. If you're watching, help me out with the answers as well as putting your score predictions up there.
So I'm taking you back to the 17th of December 2016. So it was after we'd won the league, and it was a little thing that I would call the Battle of the Bet 3-6-5. For those of you who do remember this game, it was Craig Pawson decided to take centre stage, and
No, really?
he sent off Vardy after 28 minutes of this game. I was at this game, a great following as always from the Leicester faithful. Everything that could go wrong in this game went wrong, particularly in the first half or the first hour. So Vardy gets sent off for what seemed to be an innocuous challenge. It was a straight red. 28 minutes, we're down to 10 men. They scored. Let's see who scored. Bojan scored for Stoke, and then Joe Allen scored right on half time as well. I think it was 3 minutes into injury time of the first half to go 2-0 up. So we were 2-0 down at half time. I tell you what, the thing I remember about this is it was the most animated I think I've ever seen Ranieri at the side of a pitch. The referee and all the players, the tunnel is down near the corner, and it was right near where the Leicester fans were. And the Leicester fans, as you can imagine, were letting Pawson know what they thought of him. But Ranieri absolutely gave him a mouthful as he came off the pitch. He couldn't believe what had happened. We lost our heads. We had 6 other players booked in that game. So a red card and 6 yellows. How we managed to keep everyone else on the pitch, I don't know. But we definitely lost it in that. Between half time and Vardy being sent off, I think 5 of those players were booked during that period. I'm looking at the times here. Danny Simpson got booked on the 38th, Andy King on the 43rd, Slimani on the 43rd, Albright and Fuchs both got booked on the 45th minute. Yeah, I think they were probably complaining about the soft penalty that was given. It was an absolute shocking first half. As I say, all those. And then Leicester City, we managed to pull it out of the bag up to a point anyway. Ajoa gets a goal back in the 74th minute. And then up pops Blank in the 88th minute at the back post for a header to put us 2-2. And we come out of it with a 2-2 draw when it looked far from us getting anything from that game. So there's question number 1, Chris. Who popped up at the back post and stuck in a header from about 3 yards out, I think? And the other question is, who was our substitute goalkeeper at that time?
Ah, right.
That's a tricky one. That is,
now,
some of these are easy, but yeah, I'd like to know if you knew who was our goalkeeper who was sitting on the bench during this period.
I can see him. Was it Mark Schwarzer?
If you can see him, then you're not seeing him very clearly because it wasn't.
Oh, I was impressed with myself then. I really thought, in that case, Ben Hamer.
Another good wrong shout.
Oh, right. Well, I'm running out of ideas. Let's go on to the goal scorer.
Yeah.
The person I thought that I was going to say was fine until you said who popped up with the header at the back post. I wouldn't have gone for this one. Has Andy got it right?
He has. It was Daniel Amati. A player
Again,
that I wouldn't
have got that. I was going to go for Huth.
Oh wait, no, it was Daniel Amati. I don't think he'd really made an impact up until that point. You know, I don't think he'd really made a name for himself or done anything. But he was a hero during that game because it was a great header, to be honest, and we felt justified. You know, as you can imagine, in a game like that, down to 10 men for over an hour. He did have to get escorted off the pitch. I remember it very well being there. But it was a great performance, a great comeback from the team. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if anybody can remember who that substitute goalkeeper was.
Okay, so let's go through this then. I hate to be beaten. I did well last week. I got it right. The last twice I think I got it right. I'm struggling this time. So it wasn't Schwarzer, who I thought it was. I've forgotten who else I said after that. Who did I say after Schwarzer?
You said Hamer.
Hamer. Wasn't Hamer. And I think Andy is Googling here, because I think, yes, you're quite right, Andy. And I'm going to give it. I could just say this now, going like, yeah, I've realised who it is. Being the honest person that I am, I can't. I've got to give this to Andy, who got in there first. And I'm guessing that's the right answer.
Ron Robert Zieler.
Yes.
Whatever happened to him. The
He actually
Zelko
came with a good reputation, didn't he?
He did. And I think he went back to Germany. He's done pretty well for himself. But, yeah, didn't get many opportunities with us, that's for sure.
He had some nightmares, didn't he? He was... wasn't quite up there with...
Not that long ago, but it just shows you how we forget, some players who pull on the shirt for us.
Oh, yes. And some, of course, we want to forget that are still here. Nacho. Hey, all I say, I'm the guy, right? Do you remember when Liverpool played Milan in the Europa League final, in the Champions League final? I was watching it with my son, and at half-time, Liverpool were 3-0 down, and I went, we've lost this. They're not we've not lost this. They've lost this. They're never going to come back from this. And of course, they got it back to 3-3, and it went to penalties. And then who was the guy who missed the big penalty? He was, he was like Football of the Year and all sorts.
Was it Shevchenko?
Right? Yes, Shevchenko. And I turned around to my son and said, I'd put my mortgage on him scoring. And of course, he missed. So shows what my punditry is like, and I hope that I keep knocking in Nacho is that he's going to come on and score a hat trick and prove me wrong, But
well, maybe if he does, Chris, maybe you need to get his name on the back of one of your shirts.
I couldn't afford that now. I'll tell you, I'm not working. I couldn't afford. I could just about get Natch. That's about as much as I could fit on there. I'm sure Craig will get you a prize there, Andy, for it. He sets the questions, and the prize is nothing to do with me. Involve me.
All you need to do, Andy, is prove that you didn't Google it. And I'm sure what we'll have to start doing is like they do on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm going to have to send somebody round to just sit with you while I put the quiz on. To make sure there's no lockdown. You can't do that. Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
we're buggered always, aren't we?
No, I'm sure your knowledge, Andy. I'm sure your knowledge brought it out, Andy. I trust you implicitly.
How dare we accuse him of Googling it? I must admit, I've got a couple of matches back up here where the last league games that we played, and I was quickly looking at that to see whether I'd got that game up there, but of course I hadn't. It was the the season after. But so it is that time of the night now. We've done the memorable game. Here we go, Andy. If Nacho scores a hat trick, that's worth a tattoo. Well, that's you, Andy. You're going to get the tattoo. It's up there on the screen now. If he gets a hat trick, Andy, you have got to get an Nacho tattoo. We've got witnesses. Do you agree with that, Craig?
Yeah, let's see if we can get that trending so he knows and Brendan knows.
Yes, yeah. Brendan, I want him to start now. I want him to start to get a hat trick. Sorry, Andy, you said it. It's there. It will be there now. You can't take these things off when you say. Brad Hicks there agreeing with what we were saying about our friend Ron, one of the worst second choice keepers I've ever seen in my time supporting LCFC. I don't know. I thought he was not a bad vibe, but it just didn't do it for us. Now then, what we got here, Matthew. Did say this earlier, 3-0 to Leicester, easy, he says. Oof.
Okay.
What are you going to go now? I'd definitely take that, definitely without thing. Now I've got this ready now, just in case Craig happens to go for a 3-2 or a 3-1, because I will be totally and utterly shocked not if he does.
Now, I was very disappointed the other night because we had every chance of getting a late goal to go 3-1. When that one hit Darlow's face, I was disappointed. I thought, finally, I've got my 3-1, but it was not to be. So, but this is exactly the kind of game that could finish 3-1. We put the game to bed early on. We take our foot off the gas, and we take our foot off the gas, and they get a late consolation goal. However, Chris,
oh, you're not going for that, though. You're not going for that.
I'm going to go for a 2-0.
A 2-0. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not quite going for what you say. I am going to go for a 2-1 because I do have.
That's becoming your standard as well.
No. I went 2-2 the other week. No, 2-1 because I do honestly think that it's an away game, FA Cup. They've nothing to lose. We're going in as favourites, which is always fatal, I should say. And I think we've always got letting a goal in us, if you know what I mean. But I prefer yours, but I honestly think they might get one. But fingers crossed they won't. Craig, thank you very much as always, sir.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for taking part.
And I've just made a note here that you haven't gone for 3-1 because it may never ever happen again.
It'll probably end up 3-1, won't
it? You know what? If it does, I will wet myself laughing if it does now. So that's what you've got to do. Every time you don't go for a score, that's what they're going to get. Craig, you stay safe, mate. Thanks very much as always.
Thanks a lot.
Your cottage pie is waiting. Never let it be said that I keep a man away from his cottage pie. Thanks very much, everyone.
Take care.
See you next Tuesday, mate. See you next Tuesday.
Cheers.
So thanks to Craig there. And just a couple of quick ones here before we go. Andy Medhurst, I'll go 1-3 instead of Craig. Andy, you're not getting a prize now. We're avoiding the 3-1s. And somebody here has gone for 3-2 to Leicester City. Pratt to score first. Hey, let's face it, as long as we get through, I'd take anything, as long as it's a win. Thanks very much for joining in, guys. Remember, we are available on catch-up if you want to watch it or you've missed any of it on Leicester Till I Die TV. And if you prefer the spoken word to the visual one, looking at me, I don't blame you, then we are available Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and your favourite podcast app. I will be back tomorrow night. I'll be joined by Mark at 7 o'clock for the first in a quick series of transfer shows every Wednesday. What we want to know next tomorrow, because I don't think we've been linked with too many players yet, which isn't like us. We want to know what positions you think we need to bring players in on. So if we don't get linked with anybody between now and tomorrow night, we don't sign anybody between now and tomorrow night, we're going to be looking at the positions, like a striker maybe, for the positions that you think we need to fill in this January transfer window. Or do we? January transfer windows can be completely bad, depending how we work it. But 7 o'clock tomorrow with Mark. We'll see you then. Thanks a lot, guys. Remember, lockdown, so make sure whatever you do, you stay safe. Bye-bye now.
Matt Elliott, yeah. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. Follow all them social media platforms for the latest updates and news.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.